Well, friends, in this brief little video, what I want to talk to you about is the future cabin build. Now, I may have mentioned this on other videos, but I wanted to bring you down to my pond. And I wanted to show you a few possible locations here that I'm thinking about making a cabin, a one-room cabin. And what I'm thinking about is around a 16 by 16. The reason being is any of you that follow the channel know all I can mill right now is about 16 foot 6 inches. That's about the maximum I can do with the extensions I have on my mill, the Woodland Mill HM130 Max. I can buy extra extensions. Now you can see over there, I'll zoom you in to some of my log piles. There's one out in the edge of my yard. My home is across the way there. In my shop you can't see it, but it's over there. Another angle of the logs I probably showed you before, but I'll show you again for anybody that's just coming aboard. There's one pile, all stacked on runners. They're off the ground about a foot. I got that pile. These are kind of medium-sized logs. These are where I'm going to be sourcing my cabin logs. They're about the right size. And over here I kind of got the bigger logs. I've got some of these logs in here get up to maybe 20 inches. A few of them in the bottom. There's a few big ones down low, but they're off the ground. They've been here not quite a year, so I kind of got to get to cutting these things. I kind of had to have my brother-in-law slow down because I'm like, I'm going to get too many logs and they're going to start to rot. But this is just one pile. There's a pile, shoot, I'll zoom you in, behind the kids' play set. I've got logs everywhere. I got to get my yard back in order. And I've got two piles out there by the band mill. More piles over here. There's a small little pile right there. I try to separate my logs as best I can. Now some of these are newer ones that's been coming in. I'm trying to keep them separate. You can see these are still running. The sap is just running on these. These were delivered probably 3 weeks ago. So I got them over here stacked up on runners. But this is going to be, you can see it's been raining a lot. So I really got to get my gravel in here. This is kind of like a circle drive. It comes in by the band sawmill shed. But if I get this all fixed up the way I want, I'll be able just to drive around through here a lot easier. Like I said, we've had a lot of rain here lately. It's kind of been putting a damper on my milling. I mean, yeah, my mill's under roof, but I've got some dark clay out here. When it rains, boy, it is a mess. Milling some 6x6s. Just trying to get some different kinds of lumber saved up, stacked up for future stuff. So I got a pile of those. Those are true 6x6s. That mill does a great job. I've said it before, but if you take your time, keep your blades sharp, and keep the mill adjusted, it does a great job. It really does. But you can see the massive mud hole I got worked out here. And that's coming in from that way. A lot of work to be done, friends. Also, the price of business, I got to buy a tire for the loader. I was planning on doing a lot of milling here on the Memorial Day weekend. Had 3 days off, but that got a damper put on it, and that loader tire there is just, it's gone. I think I mentioned it before, you know, I got this loader. I was able to get it pretty cheap. I think I paid $5,000 for this loader, and I moved probably 2,000 logs with it. I've worked it for a year. I've had this loader a year now, and I have worked the fool out of it, and it has not given me any problems barring this tire, which is beyond repair. It's old, so I got to get a new one. I've got one ordered. I got plenty of logs. That is not a problem. I've probably got, at the very least, I've got 1,000-pound logs here stacked up on runners. I'm going to do one of two locations I've been thinking about. Now keep in mind, I've got to get down here with my saws, my pole saws and weed eaters and stuff, and clean up around this pond. I haven't done it in years. Reason being, I'm not a lazy homeowner, but I've got kids. They're 6 and 10 years old. I've spent the majority of the time, we've been here about 11 years in this location, I spent the majority of my free time with my kids. And one thing's for sure, you cannot get back any time with your kids once they're grown and gone. So I value the time I have. I would rather spend time with my kids rather than worrying about my property other than the yard around the house. So I got to get down here and catch back up on some of my property maintenance. So, this is going to get cleaned up around here. Now, one location I've been thinking about is right here. I kind of built a little house for ducks I had in the past, and the neighborhood dogs kind of killed off my ducks. But anyway, here's one location. I thought about leveling this area out with my loader. It's kind of flat anyway. It's kind of on a high ground a little bit. And this is kind of the back side of the pond. The dam is over there. That's the deep end. Now I could do one right here, and I would be able to see my house from here. It'd be a good view. And what I'm thinking is do the cabin here, and the porch I want to extend out over the water. I want to get out there and build 2 columns coming up out of the water. And I'm thinking seriously about doing 2 huge rock columns that come up out of that water, and the timber from the cabin will extend out and rest on top of those timbers with a nice archway going over. And 2, if I chose this location, this is a spillway of my pond. When it gets full, it spills out over here and drains out. Now you will get standing water in some places. I got to clean this spillway out. But what I thought about doing is getting a piece of pipe and putting right here and run it ever how far I need to get and fill all this in so I don't have standing water anyway. Just do away with this and have a pipe, an intake pipe right here, and just let it flow out over there. That will take care of a lot of this standing water here and mosquitoes. Now I think this pond has a spillway pipe. I've never seen it. I know there's one sticking out the back of the dam. It's just, I think it's stopped up. I don't know where it's at. It's barely got water trickling out of it. But, maintenance needs to be done. The spillway deal needs to be done. I'm going to get that done this summer and get some of this dried up. And 2, if I put the cabin over here, I thought about building a nice little bridge, or arch bridge right here to get across, and a pathway going up to the house. I don't want to have a path so big you can drive down here. I kind of want this to be a off-grid type cabin. And I'll take you over here to the first location I've had in mind. Now right here in this little clearing, I thought about doing my cabin right here, right beside this tree, and 2, again, extending the porch out over the water, and 2, the sun sets over that way. It'll be a nice view sitting here. But from this angle, I'd still be able, you got that there. It'd be a nice place to sit and watch the sunset. But I'm not sure. But I'm welcoming all of you in the comments to let me know what you think, which location you like. I know you can't tell a lot by this. It's kind of getting dark, but kind of a last second video. I wanted to share this with you all. But I'm getting ready to start here pretty soon. I'm going to start with the foundation, my piers, whatever I'm going to do. I've been watching the Bearded Carpenter. I think that's his name. He's got some good videos on cabin builds. He's very knowledgeable. And I've been watching him, the way he does his forms and pouring the footers and all. Some people will get the solo tubes, I guess, the paper tubes, whatever you call them, and they'll bury those. But I kind of like his idea, using wood to build the little forms with rebar in them, and it kind of does a neat job. But I'm probably gonna do D-logs. I'm gonna mill three sides of the log flat and have a natural round face for the outside. I think that'll be the easiest for a first-time cabin build. Just do a button pass style. And later on, I'm going to take y'all to the home place, my home place. And it has a natural spring on the property that's been running probably 200 years. My great-grandparents got their water from that spring. And it still runs today. But that's another location I want to do an additional cabin build. And when I do that one, I'm probably going to do the dovetail notches. I'm going to step it up and try to do that. But for the first one, I just want to get a build under my belt and try to incorporate all the little things I like in a cabin. I'm kind of leaning toward the classic, if I say this right, chalet, whatever that style is. I've been talking to a few friends that's kind of into cabins. And for what I want the front to be mainly windows. That way you can sit in. I'm going to have a loft area in this cabin. It's going to have a really steep pitch, probably a 12 on 12. That way I've got a big loft area, and that's going to be sleeping quarters up there. And from that area, I want you to be able to look out the windows and just look across the pond, see the sunset. But I'm wanting to do a fireplace. I mean, I had a masonry background. If you follow the channel, I'm not a pro mason, but I know enough to do my own work. And so I'm thinking about that. If I don't do a full fireplace, I'm at least going to rock a corner or a part of a wall to put a wood heater for the winter time. Like I said, this is going to be an off-grid style cabin, no power. I may do solar later on, some kind of deal like that, but there is a lot of cleanup that needs to take place out here. I have a few dead trees I got to thin out. I want to thin the small stuff out just right here where you can see the house real good from the cabin area. And like I said, there's going to be a nice walkway through here. Whichever side I use, I'm going to be coming through here to get there. And like I said, I could do a nice bridge right there. That'd be nice. We're going to clean the spillway up, put a pipe in. So there's no shortage of work to be done here, but a cabin my whole life. I'm in my mid-40s now, and I've always wanted to build a cabin, and now I've got the means to do so. And hey, we ain't got nothing but time until we've got no more, so time is not the excuse. But it's just a project I want to get my kids involved in, and they're real excited about it. They're excited about being able to come out here on the weekend and stay in the cabin, build a little fire, and just kind of camp out right here in our own yard and enjoy some time together. Like I said, kids grow up fast. And my father, he died 13 years ago. He died young, in his early 50s. So one lesson I learned from that is time is fleeting. You can spend all your time working, trying to make a living, or you can do just enough and spend some time with your kids. It's possible to do both. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with working for a living and making money, but when you reach the end of your years, you could have $1 million, and not $1 of that money will buy back a single second of time that you didn't get with your kids. So you got to do it now. And this is all about making memories for the kids and the family, and just something they can look back on when they get older and pass it on to their kids. I like them both. I don't want the cabin right out here in the front, because to me that's blocking the view of the pond from the house with a cabin in the way. I don't want that. I want that to stay open. So I want to utilize these areas over here. This is a shallow end of the pond too. So anyway, my homework for you in the comment section is to let me know if you think this is a better location, watching the sunset, looking out over the pond, or right over there, looking back at the house. But just let me know what you think in the comments. The cabin build is going to start here probably this month. This is the end of May. We're getting ready to be in June. I'm going to fire up this build here in June. Start with the footers and all. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to try to post more content, at least weekly. I've had a lot going on. Kids are playing ball, and like I said, I like to spend more of my time with family and trying to juggle and do things. It can be a handful sometimes, but man, there's a lot of undergrowth out here that's got to be cleaned up. But again, a lot to do, but I like to work. So anyway, I'll let you go for now. Like I said, get in the comments, let me know what you think about the two locations, and if anybody's got any ideas on cabin designs, things I should incorporate, or experiences you had yourself that you could pass down, some tips or tricks, feel free to let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and catch you on the next one.